Hello, my dear sweet friends. Is the audio on? 1, 2, 1, 2. Is the audio on? Is the audio on, my dear sweet friends? Haha, I am back. I am here. Hello. Whew. And thank you for all the follows that came in with the mic raid. I'm sorry I wasn't there. I was, setting up with Mike and getting everything done. My dear sweet friends, we can't drag it any longer. I'm so happy that you all are here. I am very, very happy that you all are here. But I think it's time we do like this. Change the topping. And then we get a little bit of hype, a little bit of love, a little bit of good times in the chat. And then I will get you going, my dear sweet friends. Let's go. Yes, exactly like that. Exactly like that, my dear sweet friends. Let's just get it going then. My name is Sonny. I'm otherwise known as Gatdalf, twitch.tv/Gatdalf the Grey. I am a son of the sun. I'm the son of a gypsy. It brings me true pleasure and true joy to be able to welcome you all to this first episode of A Gypsy's Search for Music on Twitch. It's gonna be kind of a musical roundtable debate, a roundtable forum, where we will let the awesome talents that are on twitch.tv/music debate lovely music. I myself, over the last year, I really spent on Twitch just as a viewer. I have learned about how much amazing talent there are on Twitch and how deep the talent pool really is. So to actually get an opportunity to provide this platform for the musicians that play so much for us, to actually talk is something that is near and dear to my heart. So I am legitimately honored and proud to have you here watching this together with me, and I hope we will get it kicking off very, very nice. I hope we'll get it kicking off quite legendarian. Because, my dear sweet friends, tonight's first episode will be about drumming. We will go a little bit into the science about drumming and drums. So that's also because one of the first Twitch musicians I really started following was Office Drummer, and the whole community that came from just twitch.tv/music afterwards have been so amazing, So I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to help. But I could sit here and talk all night, and it's not me you came to listen to. It's all the wise men, it's all the guests that I actually have for you today. Even though one of them left by mistake, we'll figure out what happened. Lol. I will quickly introduce our guests because they flippin' fucking deserve it. I'm truly honored that these people will come here for the very first show. Like, oh my god, I'm still flabbergasted, so I will give them a quick introduction, even though you know who they are, and there is no spoilers or anything. They bloody deserve it. The first man I'm gonna pull into the call. Oh, stop that. My phone wants to update. Lol. The first man I want to pull into call, he's not only one I look up to as a streamer. I kind of look up to him just as a great guy. I genuinely believe he's a good person. Most of you guys already know him, and I will let him speak for himself because I believe that works way better. And once again, I heard from him through Office Drummer, but the minute I set foot in his stream, I knew I was home. I knew I was home next to a brother. He plays drums, weirdly enough, both in his band Still We Rise, which also kick ass, And you can also catch him play fun games. He's a Pokemon expert, he's a Fall Guys expert. And then you can, of course, catch his feet go brrrr. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring Mega Mike into this lovely call. See if he wants to join. He does! Hello, Mega Mike!
Hello.
Hello, thank you for being on my channel, my dear sweet friend.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, not that. It's my honor. It's my honor and privilege, my friend.
It's a pleasure.
We're gonna have fun tonight. We're gonna go deep into the science, and I'm happy to have knowledgeable people like yourselves on here. But give us the short version, my friend. Who is this lovely Mega Mike?
I am Mega Mike. I'm 32 years old. I was born in where I live, Spokane, Washington, up in the Pacific Northwest of the United States, just under Canada. I've been playing drums since I was 7. I'm self-taught. I've played in a lot of bands locally. I've never done any big tours or anything like that, but I mean, I've been playing in music, for a long time, and with many different musicians and different styles. I've played mostly metal, but I have played in punk rock bands. I've played in country rock bands. I've played a wide variety of styles of music with wide variety of different musicians. So, yeah, that's kind of my background of my music and all that.
Amazing, Mike. Amazing. Like, as I said before,
Short.
Yeah. But we're gonna go way more into depth. I hope we will get
Indeed.
into depth. Yeah, that's what we like here. But also, as I said, from spending time in your stream, it's a super chill atmosphere. Like, this is totally me gonna sound stupid, but I didn't know that metal heads could be that chill and cozy and loving and just, I know that's me putting myself out there, sounding stupid, but
No. I mean, most metalheads I feel are, the teddy bear.
right, really just lovey fuzzy teddy bears.
Yeah.
Gabe here unfortunately lost his modem, guys. Of course,
Oh no.
that happens. He just wrote on Discord. He's on mobile right now. His modem died.
As long as he's able to get in.
As I said, only out of chaos can true beauty be created. So something like that were meant to happen.
I mean, the last couple days I've been dealing with some internet issues or computer/internet issues. So that's kind of how it goes. You know what I mean?
It is. But let's bring the next guy in. What do you say?
Yes.
Get him in here with us. Then we will work very, very hard on getting Gabe in here. But until then, we also have one other guy we can talk to. And oh my God, what a guy! What a guy! I think I'm blessed and fortunate to know one with, again, like Mega Mike, with the knowledge and skill level like that. Cause like, it's the son of Terry Bozzio, which I hope I will also get a chance to get to ask him a little bit about. It's some lineage to have on the first episode of a podcast, whatever you want to call this, He started his streaming journey, I don't know, a couple of months ago, I think, or whatever. Rain, he started. He's been going for a few months. But it's just so, when I'm in his stream, if we are lucky, we are 25, 30 people, and he's just such an awesome God-given talent. Like, why? I can't say it on Twitch, but then there are people in hot tubs with 10,000 viewers. What's up? What's happening, guys? We love Twitch. But my dear sweet friends, we're gonna bring him in. Without further ado, the sweet lovely man, RaanPlays. See if he wants to join. He does. Oh, hey, there he is.
Yo,
Hello,
how's it going?
Rain.
Good to see you, friend.
Good to
Welcome
see
in, my
you, buddy.
brother.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever it is.
Whatever it is where we are. I don't know if you heard, but Gabe's modem went out.
I did see that.
Yeah,
Sorry to
yeah,
hear that.
yeah. So he's out a little bit, but
It happens, the trials and tribulations of the internet.
exactly.
I'm sure we can get him in.
The mayor of Philsville.
Yes, that is I.
He said, yeah, because he says he only has his mobile connection right now.
Oh, yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah,
Mm.
but
I am blessed to have some business internet at my rehearsal space. Thank God. My rehearsal space internet is like 1,000 times better than my internet at home. It's it is what it
Jesus
is.
Christ. I'll just get you started with a question, and then we'll see what happens, and we can get working on it. Because a couple of days ago, I did a kind of preparation stream with a bunch of viewers where we worked on everything. Misfit Pyro, thanks for the bits. Jesus, all the bits and follows coming in. I need to say thank you afterwards. But we came up with a lot of great stuff we want to ask you, more knowledgeable people that can teach us a little bit. One thing I always think about is you guys, when you play on stream, and then next to playing on stream, you play in bands, you play concerts, perhaps there is some music production you take part in. Like, do you ever just play for yourself? Totally off camera, totally without anyone, just for you and the drums for yourself, if you know what I mean, kind of.
I'll let you take that one, Mike. I'll follow right after you.
Yeah, all right. Well, yeah, totally, for sure. I mean, definitely. I mean, before streaming, of course, I would. That's all it was. If I wasn't playing, practicing in a band, I'd be practicing on my own. I've spent time practicing. Most of my life, I've done exactly what I do on stream, as in I'm just playing to songs that I like, whether I know them or I don't know them, and that's the best way to learn songs, and for me at least, is to just try playing them, and repetition, trying to play them. So like, I mean, that would be my practice, is just, playing stuff on my own, whether it's just songs I want to just jam to, or whether it's bands I'm a part of and working on material for recording, or whatever, and so now that with streaming, I don't spend a whole lot of time to myself playing drums, but I mean, I still do spend the time where it's like, all right, I'm not gonna stream, I'm just gonna play some songs that I want to play, and it does, it's for me, but now, since this is like, it's a job now, so I mean, I kind of almost have to save my ammunition for when the time is right, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where it's at now, but I still play on my own.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree anymore. Same exact thing. I used to play a lot more when I wasn't streaming, but it was the same thing, playing along 2 songs. I do have a New Year's resolution, though, which is to get in more concentrated practice time. So I haven't been doing as much as that, you know what I mean? It's learning songs for a gig, it's, streaming, it's rehearsing with bands, etc., writing new songs. So I haven't had time to focus on learning new techniques and new ideas and expanding my vocabulary. And even though streaming allows for me to do that in a lot of ways because of the improv and stuff like that, yeah, I would like to take a little bit more time, because yeah, since when you start streaming, that's like, okay, that's basically a lot of practice right there, 3
You
hours,
have to save
4
the energy
hours of
for it.
drumming. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, because the grind you put on stream, like, you guys play from anything from 4 to 8 hours, 5, 6, 7 hours, 5, 6, 7 days a week. So to actually find that energy to play off stream, or just jamming, I can understand why that would be kind of a puzzle. But I guess we might as well get an obvious one out of the way then, because in your guys' opinion, have streaming hurt the music business, or have it helped the music business?
Rain, I'll let you take that first.
Yeah, I would say it's absolutely helped, anytime, because say what you want about streamers or YouTubers or whatever, a lot of them are legit drummers who have just found a way to, I don't want to, I would say capitalize on this new kind of wave of entertainment and this new format.
No, but as they should.
Utilize.
Yeah,
it's not capitalization. They're utilizing. It's a tool.
True.
Well, but it's like you also have to strike while the iron's hot. You have to, you have to capitalize on it in a lot of ways, because if you don't, then yeah, you'll just fall underneath, right? There's the idea of utilizing it, which you could say many drummers do, right? But they don't, they do it for a little while and they say, okay, that's not really for me, or, they kind of get discouraged because they have a bad stream or something like that, So it's not necessarily for everyone. I mean, there's drummers that I would love to watch stream on Twitch all the time that just kind of fell out of it. They're like, nah, I'm not into it, not for me. And it's like, okay, it is what it is. But I think the fact that it does provide an alternative form of, an alternative platform to all these viewers and to all these people who do want to consume your art, aside from just going to your shows and stuff like that, what you can do within the realm of possibility, in your town or wherever. This allows for, you can reach people in Denmark. You can reach people,
It's
all
amazing.
over the world. So it's really cool. And the first guy I really saw take advantage of this stuff was Samus. Samus really started to kill the YouTube, and then he got on Twitch. And when I saw what he was doing with Twitch, I was like, man, that's really cool. Like, he has this great community he's built up. He gets to play all these fun songs, has a great time. And that's something I want to do. And then obviously I heard my neighbor, office drummer, over the past 2 years, really killing it,
You guys are neighbors.
Yeah,
I didn't know this.
He's right. We share this wall.
They share
right here.
studio.
I had no idea.
It's funny, dude. It's a small world. So, yeah, to see what he's been able to do with it all, man, is so inspiring. Because Samus had played in bands before. Samus had a little bit of a name, but he wasn't really, doing a lot of stuff outside of, local LA stuff. And boom, now he's killing it on Twitch. He just signed up with a drum channel and is helping those guys out, which is freaking epic for a guy of that level to just say, oh, you know what? I'm rising above all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And, using this thing to the full extent of its power, and really making a name for himself to the point where it's like, okay, he can be autonomous. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to play in any bands he doesn't want to play in. He doesn't have to, just because you're trying to get paid for a gig, etc. Sometimes that's the real struggle, like having to learn stuff you don't want to learn, play stuff you don't want to play. It's, it is what it is. It's part of making your art your career, because in a lot of ways it becomes, okay, well, this is your way to pay the bills. So what are you gonna, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta have to bite the bullet and play with some gigs that you might not necessarily enjoy. And even that process itself can stress you out, because you're kind of having two conflicting ideas. You know what I mean? You're having the one idea of, okay, this is my creative pursuit, and this is, my expression, and this is my form of, physical poetry, if you will, and it's kind of just being like, shut down to like Hallmark gift cards at times, you know what I mean? But Twitch allows for it to be so much more fun, so much more relaxed, and allows the the artists to really kind of be in control of what they want to do. Obviously, a lot of us take requests and stuff like that, but I think that's the fun part of being a musician, right? And especially drummers, we love to share music with each other. We love to hear, oh, what's this guy working on, or what's this, or what's that, and all sorts of different styles. And I think that's another way that, yeah, it really just, it helps music. It helps share music and educate people. You know what I mean?
Yep. It
All that stuff.
spreads it globally, so we
Yeah,
all can
absolutely.
reach each other.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
as you can hear, my other, do you hear this? You hear this bass drum, or am I the only person hearing it?
A tiny bit.
Oh,
Okay.
It's okay.
You got another drummer next to you?
There's somebody drumming next door, man. I'll turn it off while you answer this question, Mike.
Well, I'll just back up on the question, you know, of does Twitch help or hurt music and bands and all that? And I agree with all of that 1000%, but I'll keep on it as like there's the guys like of course, like Office Drummer, who have done what they've done, and Samus and all that. But then there's the guys that there's those guys, of course, inspire me just the same. But of course, there's the other guys that like I've gotten to meet, like guys like the band Fallujah and a few other bands like Unleashed Archers, Zenith Passage. They all stream Dragon Force, Herman Lee. They all stream on Twitch. They stream their live shows. They connect with all these other musicians, from known musicians to unknown. I was an unknown musician. No one had never heard of Mega Mike before. I had no social media presence. I had he toured with this one band this one time. Twitch completely changed my life and created a name for myself to where I could establish a name to where I can connect with amazing musicians, established musicians, and it's a good feeling. It's really cool, and it's just
The way you
it's
have
just
your own
growing
damn
music.
baseball jersey.
Yeah.
I know, right? I know. It's
Love it.
all because of Twitch, dude.
Oh yeah, man. That's what
All
it's
the
about,
amazing people we get to connect with, just like Gat we get to connect with, all these amazing people that change our lives in whatever way, just by telling us something very nice, from hey, I love what you do, keep what you're doing, to supporting us financially, to telling their friends about us, or whatever, sharing our videos online, whatever it is. It's very nice and humbling to be able to do what we do and share it, like you were saying, but also like have it shared and supported. It's very, very humbling and inspiring, and makes you want to move forward,
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, it's funny as we're playing some of these songs, doing some of these requests, and we're like, oh man, I brutalized that one. That one was so bad, and everybody in the chat's like, wow, you killed it. That was amazing. Great job. I'm so glad you played that. Like, your energy was so good. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, all right, I'll take it. Hey, maybe I'm a little bit harder on myself
I
We
thought
always are.
about that.
than I know.
Always
You know what I
are.
mean? So it's like, okay, cool. It's always good to have, I would say Twitch it's so different from YouTube in that it's like 90% positive and like 10% negative, where YouTube is usually 10% positive and 90% negative. You know what I mean?
But very quickly, just because it touches on the exact subject right here, like playing live in front of a live audience, you get that energy from having the crowd right in front of you. You're sitting alone in a studio just with you and your drum kit and a computer screen. How do you keep that hype going? How do you get that energy, the same kind of as you're playing a gig? Because that's how it seems to us, the viewers. At least for me, it seems like we're sitting at a concert every night,
I think they need to make it like the WWE Thunderdome, where you have everybody who's watching, you see their video, and it's reflected back on you like a freaking like an audience.
Right.
That's what they were doing during the pandemic. They're like, okay, we can't have a real audience. This empty arena thing wasn't working for them, so they just had all these big video walls and people would have to like sign up online to like do it. It was all brutal. Like people were
I
trolling
remember.
it, you know what I
I
mean?
remember. Didn't NBA do it as well at some point?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I'm
sports
sure.
did
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Dr. Phil did it.
Yeah,
Everyone did it.
yeah.
Yeah, so that would be great because then yeah, you
No,
can
but you
really
know,
see the reaction.
I can imagine, like, again, when you play live, you feed off the hype of the crowd.
Well,
So,
that's what I'll hold on. I can answer that question pretty well, I think. Of course, like when you're a streamer and you got like your dashboard up, you can see like, you know, some people will have it on, some people won't. You could see how many people are there in your channel. And I don't always keep my eye on that thing, but that thing does help in the sense of like if I know that there's 10 people in the stream, I know, okay, I don't have to like be super hype and go crazy. I can kind of chill and just talk to these guys one at a time, you know? Or if there's 100 people, I know I kind of need to be on it. And if people are being active, I need to keep on it. And it's the more interaction there is, the more hype you can create, not just for the chat, but for yourself too. You know, that's how I kind of, I hype myself up
sure.
mentally, is just by being able to interact with the people, you know, and that's, you know, that's, I don't know, interaction's key into keeping, I think, the streamers sane and the chat hype to where, you know, you can keep that energy going like it is a live show, because when it's a live show, that singer is talking to the crowd exactly like a streamer is talking to the chat, because it's not, you know, that singer is not, I mean, yeah, sometimes they single out one person. They're like, hey, you tell me, answer this question. But generally it's, hey, what's going on? What's going on, Detroit? We're here to have a good time, and everyone screams. That's the chat going, emotes. It's the same exact mentality. So if you can have that mentality and act as that and thrive off that, then it works.
Well, actually, yeah, I mean, what you said was a really great example of how you address and how you perform for a crowd when you're at a bar full of 60 people compared to when you're playing a festival full of 10,000 people. You know what I mean? You can, when you're at a bar, small venue, you can, okay, I can take risks here and I can see everybody that's kind of moving around as I'm performing. Whereas when you're playing a big, you know, thousands of people crowd, you go, oh, you address it as this one massive wave of thing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? The chat is just going so fast, blah blah blah. There's only so much you can do, right? There's only so much you can say. Whereas like, okay, yeah, a more intimate chat allows for more, you know, more conversation, more, you know, more exchange from the viewer. But then again, like you said, you get more hyped when you have a bigger crowd. So it's kind of that weird give and take mentality. It is kind of the
But
idea
both
of a
is
jazz
great.
club and a yeah, it's the idea of a jazz club and an arena. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Both are great. It's sometimes a small show is a small intimate show is sometimes the best, you know, and sometimes the big show, you know, it's the same for Twitch too. Sometimes just a chill stream, whether you're drumming or not drumming or whatever. And it's just, you know, it's more intimate, you know, like,
Yeah,
it's,
exactly.
but I mean, yeah, so that's how, you know, I mean, to create the hype or keep the hype, I mean, it's just interaction, really, I guess is the key, you know.
Amazing, guys. Then, kinda in the same ballpark, but not really. It's more of the whole puzzle of actually, I can imagine all the obligations besides streaming, you know, just real life.
Well, like doing interviews.
Yeah, and no, but also playing in real life, juggling the time between the band and the stream and the relationship and the family, and perhaps if you have to have a second job, if you're, you know, someone. Like, how have you managed to find a balance between investing time in streaming and other obligations?
Rain.
Okay, I'll take this one. Or I'll start off, shall we say? I don't know how we're doing this moderation, but I like it. We're passing it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's difficult. It's not easy. You know what I mean?
That's
Pursuing
what
your
I could
dreams.
imagine. That's what I could imagine.
pursuing your dream in any platform is difficult, right? It's scary. A lot of people are afraid to do it. You know, that's kind of why I really do go and live by this motto of it is drums or death. That's it, baby. Like, I have no backup plan. I didn't go to college because I knew college was a death sentence. I knew college was, oh, you know, and I shouldn't say that because there's lots of people who have degrees and who have, you know, are successful musicians, etc. But for me, I knew what I needed to do to become what my idea of, you know, achieving my dreams, goals, success, whatever. You know, I knew that I couldn't have any distractions. I knew that music had to be everything.
Mm-hmm.
I say that while saying that also it's important to have other interests than music, right? It's important to be parts of different communities and to express these different things. Like, you know, Musashi said in the Book of Five Rings, right? To be like a great swordsman, being good at calligraphy helps. Being good at, you know, this helps. Being good at the, you know, music, right? All these things would improve like your sword fighting game. And I think that's very similar with music and with drums is, you know, to go have these experiences, to go travel, to go see concerts and be inspired by other musicians. You know what I mean? There's nothing more inspiring than seeing somebody doing something that you want to do, that inspires you to, you know, achieve the same sort of goals or successes, or even to hear songs that remind you of things that, you know, excite you, etc. You know what I mean? All that stuff is like super important. So yeah, I mean, like I'm really into like weight training, working out. I don't miss a workout like if I can, you know what I mean? It's something really crazy has to happen for me to miss that. And when I plan on streaming, unless there's a gig or something else, you know what I mean? Like I will be there to stream, you know what I mean? I make sure I make the time for those kind of things. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and yeah, you know, I have to have an additional source of income as well. Luckily, it's not my full day job. You know, I act like that's my supplemental income, which is really cool. I'm really lucky to make more of my income from teaching and music. And now that Twitch is becoming more, you know, it's starting to gain more traction. I'm trying to phase, you know, the shitty day job out of my life and make this, you know, where I invest more of my time. And so I've been able to do a lot of that, and I've been really blessed and grateful to do it. So, yeah, man, I mean, having relationships with this stuff is really difficult because not everybody understands what it's like to date a musician and to be with a musician because
Yeah, but also
it's,
I can imagine a musician streamer because again, you put in 6 to 8 hours, 5 to 7 days a week. It's quite a grueling schedule, you know.
yeah, it's a lot, you know, and yeah, that only has such a small part to do with it, you know, just the being a musician in general because, you know, one thing that I've always kind of known, you know, from a young age is that the art always comes first. The art is always the first mistress, you know what I mean? It's always drumming. Drumming is number one, and anybody who's a partner to a drummer has to be aware of that. And it takes a special kind of person to be understanding of that. Because yeah, not a lot of people get it. Not a lot of people get the aspect of being in bands and knowing how to kind of like act cool around, you know, these kind of situations, backstage scenarios. You know, it's a lot. It's like you have to be able to vibe, and if you don't, it can ruin a relationship. It can ruin your reputation as a musician at times. You know, it can ruin all sorts of things. So yeah, man, that's I'm sure. You know, I know Mega Mike's girl is on stream every now and then with him, and I'm sure he can relate those tales very much so.
Yeah, all of that 1,000,000%, dude. Like 1,000,000%. Like it's the thing is like, yeah, I think the word that you could say that rounds about what you were saying is it's all about balance. You got to have a balance in between streaming and your personal life and this and that. And honestly, I am not good at that balance. I'm not good at it at all because this became my full-time gig like pretty quick once I dove in. It was a year ago that I dove in really quick, and as soon as I dove in and it became my full-time thing, I've not found that balance. I've still not. And it's a problem, but the thing is okay, I've used these comparisons before, and I think it helps and it makes sense. So I treat my music and my streaming exactly how athletes treat their business and their sport. As in, they're a professional athlete, they know the dedication they have to put into their craft to be able to stay a professional. They know the from the hard work to the homework, from physically and mentally and all that. So when you do all that, there are sacrifices that are being made within yourself and to the relationships you have. Like one of the things they talk about, head coaches never see their families because all they do is live in an office. And so it's kind of like the same thing of like when you're streaming all the time and all, you're out of your real life personal shit. You're in with this, you know what I mean? So it takes a lot of sacrifice, not only from you, but from the relationships you have. And so you have to have a strong enough relationship outside of streaming. If you have a partner or family or whatever it is, there has to be a strong enough understanding in between each other of like, hey, there's sacrifice being made both ways. You know what I'm saying? Like they're sacrificing time away from you that you could be spending together, in the betterment to be able to, I'm with the time that I take away from, doing this or doing that with either a loved one or for myself. There's time that I take away from myself too, not only my loved ones, myself. I'm putting it towards a good thing, and it's rewarded to, I'm able to then provide after, but it's all about the balance and being able to balance those things. And I'm still finding that balance, but like I said, it's all about having those strong bonds and relationships and understandings. Communication's always key. And so that's how you find that balance. It's very tough.
Amazing, gentlemen. Amazing, you two gentlemen. Guys in chat, aren't we getting some proper knowledge here? This is amazing.
Going deep.
I love it. I really, really love it. I'm following chat. They truly love it as well, guys. Let's go over to a little bit more of the inspiring stuff then. What was one piece of advice you got at some point that changed the way you approach playing drums?
Mike, I'll let you take this one. I need to think about this for a second.
That's where I'm at too. So, what one piece of advice
one piece of advice, that made you change the way you approach to playing drums? Like, I imagine if you picked it up as a teenager, you found your groove and you had a feeling about what you played like, and then all of a sudden you got this revelation that were like, oh, this is what drums is. This is how I'm meant to play.
I mean, I can't think of an answer when it comes to the actual playing aspect. I mean, honestly, I can just give that last answer again with what you're talking about, as in what's changed my playing, as in mentality.
Oh, yeah,
mentality is a big factor of how you play. Like if goals is a big thing, and that's whether somebody told me that or I just learned it myself, I have no idea. But I mean, that's like whenever I've listened to like athletes and inspiring actors and things like that, whenever they say whatever inspiring, I just use that into myself for my music.
I totally respect that drive so much. I truly hope it doesn't sound wrong, because I mean it in all positive ways that it can be meant, but it's the madness of excellence. Like a guy like myself, I pick up a guitar, then I learn the four chords I need to play the 3 Beatles songs on Wonderwall, then I leave the guitar, and that's it. Like, to actually get to that excellent level you are at, that takes some tenacity and some proper dedication, man. It's the madness of excellence. That's what you are showing us.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of things involved there, Some of it is, definitely there's a fine line between genius and insanity, right? With any when it comes to any sort of art form or any
Yeah, who
field.
would need a drum kit with 50 drums and 77 cymbals and
Yeah, exactly. A fine line, exactly. A very fine line. So
No,
yeah,
I'm
you know,
joking. I'm joking.
it's one of those things, and then there's also like with art nowadays and all these kind of weird musical things, we're having all these crazy prodigies, you know, unlike ever before, where it's just like, okay, now the kids are learning
Every new
faster and
week,
better.
there's a new YouTube video of some 8-year-old going. "Brrrr."
Yeah, exactly. Playing better than I've ever played in my life. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh Jesus Christ, you know. But yeah, you know, that's how the previous generation felt about us, and vice versa. You know what I mean? It's going down the line, and I'm a big believer in, you know, a lot of. I wouldn't say every drummer has a genetic disposition to be creative, but like my dad was a drummer, his dad was an accordion player, and his dad was an accordion player. So we had four generations of musicians
Yeah.
that were passed down, and not, you know, the my grandpa and great grandpa weren't like super professionals or anything like that, but my dad told stories about my grandfather being like, yeah, a child prodigy. When he was a kid, he would just play like a freaking madman, and then, you know, by the time my dad was like going to family functions and stuff like that as a kid, they would always ask him, "Oh, hey, play the accordion." Blah, blah. Everybody would ask him, and he'd go, "Oh no, you know, I really don't want to play it." Blah blah. Blah. And they'd be like, "Come on, you know, oh, let's do it." Okay, fine, you know, and the whole, you know, everybody's just frozen, like, you know what I mean, and that really impacted my dad as a child, you know. So there's weird stuff like that, like where there's just, you know, like I definitely got the genetic jackpot when it came to drumming because of the very little amount of work that I've put in and got, you know, it's almost like the John Jones element of like John Jones doesn't fucking try and kill. I'm not saying I'm that great or anything like that, but I definitely know that the time that I put in is not equal to like my ability in a lot of ways, and that's why sometimes I do feel like, okay, I need to step it up and I need to kind of really focus on, like I said, expanding my vocabulary and putting more work in because I'm almost trying to make up for lost time. But that's all kind of besides the point of the question. I think we got into a weird tangent there. Um, uh, but two really good pieces of advice that my dad gave me that really I tried to think of what were things that truly impacted my style of drumming and the way I approach the drums. And one of them was when I was going to record my first like drum solo slash like big kind of metal song that ended up being on this compilation with all of my like drum heroes. It was like a really big moment at like 14 or 15 years old. It was like, wow, like, you know, this is what's possible. Like I can hang with these guys that I look up to, you know what I mean?
Oh
It
yeah.
really boosted my confidence. But I asked my dad, you know, because he was on tour at the time. It's like I don't know what to do for my solo, you know, like I it was encouraged to have a solo or to have just like very drum centric songs on this compilation album. So I was like, okay, I want to do something cool and creative. And he told me to approach it like you're painting and just think about the way that artwork is made and think about you can be incredibly detailed at times or you can splash colors all over the place. And it doesn't matter because it's art, right? It's you're creating a visual, you know, landscape with sounds. You're trying to think of okay, use these as colors and shapes and all that sort of thing and make the drums into, you know, a visual piece of artwork and that will reflect, you know, in your sound and you'll make something creative and cool and good. And that has always stuck with me. Every time I am trying to improvise or play or think of things, I'm always trying to think of things as okay, how can I splash this color here and how can I draw this here and how can I do this with the tools I have available with all the colors and paints I have in front of me because sometimes
Hmm?
you have red, green and blue and that's it. And sometimes you have freaking aquamarine and freaking cyan and freaking all these, a million different colors.
That makes
So
total sense.
yeah, yeah. So that was one that really stuck with me, and then another one that stuck with me was as far as being a drummer who is trying out for different bands and wanting the next gig that's gonna, supposedly make you, right? None of these gigs ever, it doesn't matter how old you are, how experienced you are, there is no single gig that will make or break your career. And it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter, oh, you think this, oh, I have a chance to play for freaking, Post Malone or whoever the biggest freaking artist in the world is right now. Bad Bunny, you know what I mean? And you don't get the gig, that doesn't mean it's over for you. It doesn't mean that you can't have more success and more fulfillment with a different gig with somebody even bigger and better than Bad Bunny down the line. You know what I mean? So those are two things I would try to stress to people as much as possible when you ask me that question.
For
Those are
sure.
definitely what I thought of.
For
Number
sure.
one, when you're creating, think of it as art, or maybe an artist, you could think of it as a song, or a story, or what have you, whatever kind of other art form, a fight, you know what I mean, anything that you look at and can appreciate or understand, a football game, all sorts of, there's artistic moments in sports, you know what I mean,
There
sports
is.
are an
There
art in a lot of
is.
ways, so yeah, and then yeah, don't let any of you out there right now listening to this, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be music. None of these gigs, none of these, supposed shots at success are ever going to make or break your career.
That's actually a great lead up to where I was thinking about going now. Because when you get to the level of talent that you two possess, and you get to that level of being able to play like that and having that skill, when you just listen to songs, from other artists, are you able to, just listen, or do you always listen in drummer mode, like, oh, they're using this beats, they're using triplets like that, or are you always listening with the, the musician technical part of the brain, or can you actually, I know it might be a stupid question, but can you still enjoy music? Just
No,
enjoy music.
that's not a dumb question. Honestly, like I think it depends. For me, it depends. Like it's a variety of things. It's just like mood can be a factor of, am I just gonna listen to this song, or intent is key. It's just like what Rain was saying about the last thing about painting and art, like, which was beautiful, by the way, very, very great, that anybody could use that advice towards anything, but definitely is, of course, musicians. Like, it's just, God, now I lost what I was going to say. Well, no, okay, yeah, intent. The intent of, why are you listening? Are you listening to just enjoy the song, or are you listening to? So that is a factor, But I mean, most of the time, when I'm listening to a song, I am just trying to enjoy the song. But there will be things that happen within a song, whether it depends, though, if whether it's what something, like how something sounds like production wise, or
Yeah,
what
yeah, yeah.
someone plays. Something will stick out, and it will go, I'll be just listening to a song, and then a drummer or a guitar player might just do something, and it changes the mind frame, where it's like, oh, now I'm in robot, I'm listening to the actual work being done, I'm not just listening anymore, I'm analyzing. So it really depends.
Yeah, but couldn't
Yeah.
it? Please
Oh,
go,
sorry, go
Rain.
ahead.
No,
No, go
but
ahead.
couldn't it also? I guess it could also be super positive to have that level of knowledge about the whole craft of it all, because you can perhaps even enjoy songs more because or you can hear, oh, he's using that kind of beat instead of that kind of beat.
You're right, but it can also be a downfall as well too. That's why so many
Mm.
musicians don't enjoy a lot of like what you would say maybe popular music, because a lot of, I mean, it's sad to say, there is a lot of popular music that is just kind of put together for the intent of consumerism, putting it out there. And
True,
if you
true.
understand, like, I mean, I think anybody can kind of hear that, but I mean, if you truly understand music and you hear what's going on and know what's going on, it turns you off. You're like, oh, this, you hear the intent, you hear that, oh, they're not making this for anyone to just enjoy. You hear that they're, putting out a song, whether it's a joke song or a song that they're trying to blow up on the radio or the internet or whatever, so it is a positive but also a negative too, because then you can hear what seem, and also that could be an assumption though too. You could just hear a song and assume that, oh, they wrote the song purely just to pump it out and to make some money, so it is a positive, but it's also a downfall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say it really gets different for the artist. I mean, for me, so like I can't go to sleep listening to music, right? A lot of people like to listen to music as they're sleeping, but like I'm analyzing everything that I'm hearing as I'm laying there in complete darkness. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well now it's like, you know, they say like when you take away like one of the senses, you know what I mean? The others like heighten, like Daredevil, you know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, that's how I feel anytime somebody is, trying to go to sleep with music on. Then, yeah, like because I have to listen to so much music for work, for teaching people, for playing shows, all this stuff, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Sometimes it can be exhausting, and sometimes I don't even want to listen to music. So a lot of the times I listen to podcasts because it's like, okay, I can listen to people talk. It's kind of relaxing. Whereas I'm spending however many hours listening to the same songs over and over again, repeating them, trying to learn them, making notes for them, etc. And then, practicing them however many times live. It's just like the last thing I want to hear is another freaking electric guitar. You know what I mean? Or a drum, even. It's just like Jesus. So yeah, that could definitely affect you. Um, but I would say it goes both ways because there's times when you know it won't be till maybe months of listening to a band or a song for my own enjoyment that I discover other melodies or other parts in it that I had never heard. And I love it when that happens because it's rare. It doesn't happen all the time. But then once you hear it, then you can never kind of unhear it. And now you have this sort of new discovery where it's like, wow, I was only focused on this one aspect of the melody that was being performed, and I didn't hear this other aspect until just now. And now it's like, oh yeah, I'll never forget it. But it's really I love discovering stuff like that. So yeah, there's so many different ways of going about it, and really how your brain perceives it. I mean, God knows I've been in some bands with people who perceive sounds or songs or whatever two completely different ways, and trying to explain to them what you think you're hearing can be very difficult, or vice versa. What they're trying to explain to you. I mean, there's great memes about the guitar players, trying to teach a drummer a drum beat. Go, yeah, something like do patatu, but a little washy, and make sure kind of give it like a Beatles vibe and this and that. You're just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Been there, done that.
Yeah, so yeah, man, that's one of those weird things, but it's just like any job, any sort of knowing about a craft, like say a mechanic, right? A mechanic looks at an engine and knows exactly what everything is going into it, out of it, etc. Knows how to pop the seat out, knows how to do this, that, whatever, because they've been around it. You know what I mean? Or they have that perception of what it is. But like, I look at that shit and it looks like Chinese. I'm like, what the fuck? I know more Chinese than I know about freaking car engines, Ni shi shui sheng ma.
Well, yeah. So what you're saying, bottom line is though, if you understand the craft or whatever the thing is, you're gonna look at it differently than someone that doesn't understand.
For
because there's
sure.
more of an understanding. So you're going to analyze it more and just understand more. So of course there's going to be a level of different thinking.
Amazing, guys.
Absolutely.
I love that. I love these answers. I truly love how this is going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is
Um,
awesome.
I don't know
I
where.
wish Gabe was here.
Right? Gabe should have been. He needs to be on the next episode. I'm gonna get him on the next episode for sure. He could have told us about the good jazz. But I can't remember. I'm not sure where the quote came from. But it was a viewer that said it to me, and wanted to bring it because it's really amazing. But apparently, Dave Grohl was the one who said it. He talked about drummers have a very, very distinct sound, almost like a fingerprint when you play the drums. Like, is that sound or that style that is yours? Is that something you can develop through training, or do it come organically?
My opinion, I'd say it's a little bit of both. I think, I think how a drummer sounds. Yeah, he's right. Every drummer has their own fingerprint. It's truly amazing like for a drummer, when you watch a drummer and they are like literally seemingly perfect, like their technique is perfect and the sound their sound is just perfect. It blows you away, and so like I don't know if it can be developed like purposely. I think it's how people play. Every musician plays different. It's how it's how they hold the pick, how they hold the sticks, how hard they hit, how how tall are they, and how long. There's so many factors to make, especially for a drummer. There's so many factors to make a drummer sound how they sound. So it's a little bit, I think, both of, yeah, of course you can develop your own sound. The more work and you put into your technique and all that, that's obviously going to improve your sound. Like my work of not just sitting here and just trying to play drums, like that, like I said before, yeah, I just sit around and learn songs and all that, but like also I've worked hard at technique, and that has developed my sound for sure. So if you work hard on that, that will change your sound, but in the long run, you are going to sound how you sound, bottom line, just because of how you play. But yeah, you can change it through working on technique and things like that. And like Rain was saying, he wants to work on work on, yeah, I'm the same exact way, work on our vocabulary, sit down and like, okay, like I'm sure my left hand is weaker than my right hand, so I need to work on my left hand. Things like that will improve my sound. The more solid I become with this hand compared to this hand, it's all it takes effort and time for sure.
Yeah, another big thing I would say and add to that is your influence, because there's a lot of, I really hate to say this, but I think it's very true. There's not many drummers who are innovating things anymore. There's not.
It's hard to. It's hard.
Yeah. You can only reinvent the wheel so many times, right? And I think
Yep.
the last generation of guys who did that have really kind of, I mean, they're still around, but it's not this current generation. Nobody's doing anything that I haven't seen before. You know what I mean?
The new things that are changing are things like, incorporating digital. You know what I'm saying? That's where it's starting to change.
Yeah, well, and I would say just the big thing is it is, like I said, it's a combination of the influence that create their sound, right? And what they choose to do with it, etc. So we are getting a lot of tremendous drummers, but nobody who is innovating more, what can be done on the set, what will be done on the set. I'd say probably the craziest thing that I've seen really is like Riccardo Merlini doing like the insane one-handed blasts and shit. Like that's something that's like pretty innovative. I've never seen anything like that before. But you know, like guys like my dad, guys like, whatever, even the generation of guys who are influenced by him, there's not like nothing's being changed too much when it comes to drums. So what it really comes down to is who you listen to, who you like, and what you choose to do with what you're listening to and what you like, right? So there's so many different places that I always try to tell people, especially my students, right? You want to have diverse tastes, that way your background can be diverse. You know what I mean? The more that you just pigeonhole yourself, the more, the the less you're going to be able to do,
Yep.
right? You want to be able to, if you're cooking food, right? If you're learning to cook, why would you learn to cook just one style for yourself, right? You would probably try to be efficient and say, you know what, if I really do want to learn this cooking thing, I should be able to make some Chinese food every now and then. I should be able to make some Mexican food. I should be able to make some soul food, some this, some that, Um, that way you can keep yourself entertained, right? You just learn blast beats your whole life. Some people like that, you know what I mean? But even the guys who play all the blast beats in the world love to listen to different things, you know what I mean? They love to play different things in their off time, you know what I mean? So yeah, I really try to stress like having diverse tastes, because that's how my dad was able to come up with the innovations that he came up with, right? Is all his different influence he took from different things and borrowed and combined, and then used his own, creative merit and his own, I mean, obviously he'll innovate things that I could never imagine. He's created so many things when it comes to the drums. He's like Rodney Mullen in skateboarding, where it's like, okay, Rodney Mullen invented the kick flip. Oh, he also invented the heel flip. He invented this. He invented that. Like, so many crazy moves. You realize like 70% of the moves on Tony Hawk were invented by Rodney Mullen himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, dude. It's one of those wild things. So, you know, so many of the modern era comes from YouTube. We're getting so many kids that grew up with YouTube as part of their life. And so now we have a lot of drummers who are amazing at emulating different styles, but I don't see too many of them, you know, coming up with their own voice, There are a lot of guys that are really great out there, and I don't want to take away from any of them, because there are, but yeah, like I said, those kind of, I feel like that era of innovation, just because of the way music is going in general, and the interest that people take in different kinds of music, especially with the rise of electronic music. It's like kids at the music store nowadays see drums. They're like, yeah, mom, that's what beats used to be made on. You know what I mean? Like,
Does it perhaps have only perhaps and only silly thing, but could it have anything to do with also what you talked about earlier about more learning specific songs instead of techniques? That perhaps these days they teach you when you're young and you want to learn how to play, you pick up another musician's song and you learn that instead of learning some techniques on just how to play the drums. So developing your own sound might be more tricky than in the earlier generations, as you spoke on.
well, but
Yes. Well, I what I want to say is, yes, learning like a certain style is definitely key, but sometimes learning a certain technique is the only way to learn that style. You know what I'm saying? Like being able to
it
play
all
jazz. I can't play jazz because I don't know the style of jazz. So you know what I mean?
well, see, the other thing is all the greats did do that. You know what I mean? All the greats learned growing up playing along to John Bonham records and playing along to Buddy Rich records or whatever, you know what I mean? Black Sabbath, all that stuff. So that's never necessarily been the problem. I think the fact that it is so accessible now, and it is, like I said, we're in the generation of all these 8-year-olds playing, freaking Moby Dick, like note for note perfectly. You're like, okay, well, what's going on here? Is it
Well, the
because
guys that are impressing me now, honestly, are the guys that are coming up with new techniques for drums.
yeah,
Guys like that are doing open hand blast beats, and it's not the fact that they're doing blast beats; it's the fact that they're doing blast beats in a new way. Like they're, so many drummers are using like marching band techniques now and implementing on the kit, and I love it. That's like, You know, like you're right where you can only innovate the drums so much, but those are the guys and the things and styles that are sticking out to me nowadays. The thing, you know, like there's this one clip on Instagram that I've been hooked on where it's this guy. I don't even know. I've never even heard of the guy before. He's just might be an Instagram drummer. I don't know, but he does the open hand technique on like doing like a simple hi-hat beat, you know, and it's almost like he sounded like he's using two hands, but it's one hand. And so it's things like that is what's impressing me. But it's hard to find that, you know.
Yeah,
You can only
okay.
go so
So
far.
I would say on that note, yeah, I think I might know who you're talking about. Are you talking about Johnny Matar or like Yoni
No,
Madar
I
or
know.
whatever?
Yeah, it's not Johnny. I just do follow Johnny. That guy's an absolute insane on like his hand techniques and all that are amazing, you
Yeah,
know.
so I
And
would
yeah,
say,
technique's definitely not everything, but I mean, it goes a long ways, you know.
well, and I would say what's great about that is that he does apply it musically, right? A lot of people will learn these crazy techniques. That is one guy that I would say that is of a more modern. I mean, obviously he's an older cat, but he hasn't really been discovered until recently,
Yeah.
because of the internet and stuff like that. But he's not doing cover songs. You know what I mean? He's doing, okay, I'm taking these techniques and showing you how you can apply them in a cool musical way, but they're also very complicated and very, you know what I mean? It's like he's pretty great. I would say shout out to him for sure.
Yeah, big time. It's hard to make a technique incorporate into a musical sense, you know, especially if like you've never heard it done before, you know, by someone else. But it's doable, but you know, it's hard, you know. You can, like you said, you can only innovate the drums so much. That's
Absolutely, yeah.
that's why it's you know, as much as it's a downfall that like, you know, where music's going like digitally, where it's like, you know, you don't even have to step foot in the studio nowadays when it comes to a drummer. You just have to MIDI program, you know. As much as that's a downfall, that's also there's benefits to that in many ways, you know. Like there's things that you might not be able to write like in your head mentally on the kit, but you could write it digitally and then you could learn it physically, and then bam, you just because you didn't write it physically on the kit doesn't mean you didn't write that. It's still music, you know. So it's just a different way of expressing music, you know. It's hard for me to get into that. I don't even know how to do drum programming yet that well, but I know that's what a lot of people are doing nowadays, and it's I think it's a plus, you know.
Oh yeah, people are able to do insane things with that nowadays, and it's really hard to tell the difference, you know, with all the processing that regular drums go through now anyway. It's like, oh, okay, well, shit, a lot of people might as well be playing on electronic kits when they're recording these songs, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll make a
That's what I did last time, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big way to go now. I mean, unless you got the nice room and the producer that's willing to spend the time and the energy, you know, like
Yeah, exactly.
it's all about effort and intent, you know, all that stuff, you know.
Luckily most of the people who work with me want to use real drums, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay.
Yeah, that's nice.
Thank
They're
God
not
for that.
lazy then. They're willing to put in the work.
Yeah, well, you know,
That's
and
work.
I mean, why hire Rain and Bozio unless you're going to use some real drums? Damn it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
But yeah, no, trust me, a lot of my favorite albums have programmed drums on them or played on an electronic kit. It's like it's whatever, you know. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
If it tricks you, you know, I mean, there's programmed guitar out there. You know what I mean? I like video game music. That shit's all made on a fucking Casio, you know.
Yep.
That's what I was gonna say. I can play a sick drum beat in Fruity Loops.
Yeah, hey, that's more than a lot of people can do. The two of us
It's
probably
still
couldn't do Fruity Loops.
Yeah, I haven't messed with it. I'm starting to work with that kind of stuff though. I just downloaded Easy Drummer and Reaper, and so that's going to be my next process, is working with my bands and some projects, is just recording at home on my electric kit and building the MIDI tracks and all that, and you know, like
It's
it's
crucial.
gonna
It's
work.
crucial. And I tell a lot of my students too, hey, while you're young, start to learn about being in the studio. Start to learn about producing, recording, engineering, all this shit. Because if you can do it yourself, you can save yourself a lot of time, money, and energy.
Yep.
So,
And do it
so
right. Do it the way you want to do it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Having that kind of knowledge is something I really wish I do. So I always tell my students, hey, while you're young, start learning that shit now because it's hard for an old dog like me to start trying to figure that shit out.
It's never too late, man. I'm 32 and I wish when I was 17 or 18, I really was trying to get on the YouTube train. That's when
Yeah.
that's when I first saw Samus. He had those
Yeah.
those night vision camera videos and playing necrophoshes and shit like that. I'm like, I want to do that, and I just never had the resources or the time or this and that to do it. And I'm late to the game, but here we are. It's never too late to start doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. I'm still that's why I've got all these New Year's resolutions. I'm like, all right, there's a couple new things I want to learn and work on for this next year, so I'm excited about getting started on those. I might even start early.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
With the talent you two possess, I see nothing but prosperity and growth for the both of you. Oh my god. Oh my god,
Hell yeah.
gentlemen.
Hell yeah.
The grind will pay off for you too. The grind will most certainly pay off for you too.
Well, the
Yeah, I
grind
need to
pays
get on
off for
top
us
of
all
that.
individually, but I mean, the fact that we're able to all kind of grow together too, we're all, yeah, we just met, I mean, just recently, but I mean, that's the beauty of
Yeah,
it
yeah,
with the
yeah.
Twitch and the internet. We're all able to grow and uplift each other and all that. Office Drummer has done so much for me, and I've done a lot for other streamers, and I'm sure you've done a lot for other musicians, and
Mm-hmm.
it's all just a cycle. You put good energy out there, and it all just
But
circles
that
through.
was because that was perhaps the last subject I would like to touch on before we do a little break. And that was that whole thing of I realized again over the last year that I have been a viewer on Twitch slash music now, that it it seems like it's all friendly competition. There is no hatred or no like in real life, the real life bands, there's always a fight to be at the top of the flyer and to be the one who get the good spot at the gig. But on Twitch online, it seems that there's a different sense of community, a different sense of more peaceful, friendly competition with each other, making each other better.
Well,
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
I think I could answer this in a small thing. So I've never played in the level that Rain has played, where I'm sure he's played with a lot of bands with a lot of well-established musicians, from the work he's done and being around his dad and all that. He's been around it, where a guy like me, I'm just on a local level. You know what I'm saying? It's a bunch of, no offense to them, but it's a lot of amateurs, guys that are not signed in bands, guys that are not toured. They're weekend warriors. They have a 9 to 5 job, and then they get together once a week for band practice, and they get drunk, and then they go out and play a show, and call it good. And that's fine. And that's where I've been. And when you're on that level, there should be a lot of camaraderie and all that, where bands are working together and all that. But for some reason, at least in my area, and I think it's very common, it's very cliquey. Bands will only work with certain bands, musicians will only work with certain musicians, and so it creates groups and cliques, and there's not the camaraderie like there is on Twitch. And so you said there's a healthy competition. I'd have
Mm-hmm.
to disagree. I don't think there's any competition whatsoever. There's very, very healthy camaraderie where everyone needs each other and helps each other all at the same time.
Oh
Where
yeah. Oh
where
yeah.
I'm at on a local musician level, it's not there. It's very, very far and few. There's not a lot of there. It's hard to find the real guys, the real musicians that just want to go out and play and have a good time. There's a lot of egos and people that are in it for weird reasons, not the real reasons of like, hey, I just want to play music and everyone get together, you know, like,
And
there's, you know,
I guess
intent is a big
producers
thing.
and labels making demands.
I'm sure that's a factor too, but I know nothing of that world. I'm just
No,
speaking
no,
in
no.
my world of like the amateur level of like there's like a lot of clicks and all that. So like the beauty of Twitch is like, yeah, there's of course like little clicks here and there where it's like, oh, there's these communities that are together, you know, like we got our little click. There's like the office drummer, Mega Mike, you know, there's a drummer click, you know, but it's not like it's a segregated click, you know, we everyone's
not.
welcome in, you know, so like it's very, there's a lot more camaraderie on Twitch and it's fucking awesome.
That's what I also discovered. It seems like you're just one big happy family. And we're just happy to be allowed to be a part of it.
Well, that's part of the raiding, you know what I mean? It's like I'll always try to raid somebody, you know, after every stream, doesn't matter how many people you have in it. Just try to bring somebody over to somebody new. And you know, I always try to look for somebody I haven't rated before and or whoever has the least viewers. You know what I mean? Because it's like, okay, yeah, sure, we could raid 8-bit drummer right now, but like 8-bit drummer is doing fine. You know what I mean? He's okay. Let's raid somebody who has 2-3 viewers right now and let's make their freaking day. You know what I mean? Like let's freaking, you know, let's crank it up a little bit. And you can see the reaction that the people have and how happy they get and, you know, all that stuff. And then boom, what do you know? Next time they come into your stream and they freaking request a song or subscribe or whatever. And dude, just like Office Drummer, one of the guys we can thank big time. I mean, fuck.
He just showed up in chat. Showed up in chat. What up, Chief?
Dude, love you, Office
out
Drummer. It's good to see you.
Man.
He's done a lot.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about is just, you know, passing it freaking, what do they say? Pay it forward. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And
that's the big beauty of Twitch is everyone pays it forward in so many ways.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Another cool piece of drumming advice, not drumming advice, but just weird drumming philosophy that I got from Office Drummer actually, was when we were talking about trying to get my freaking channel together and how I was struggling with just the audio and making everything work. He was like, dude, you know what's kind of crazy? He's like, we're scientists. He's like, basically, like, we're exploring new worlds that have never been like explored before. Like, we're the first people doing this stuff. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, it's like the moon landing. We're the first ones, baby. You know, he's old Buzz Aldrin or whatever.
That's true. The lovely Chief. But what do you say we take a small break, guys?
Sure, yeah.
And then when we come back from the break, we're gonna do some rapid fire questions, and then we hopefully have some questions from chat to you guys.
Okay.
Awesome. Rapid fire.
Kapow!
Pew pew.
Jesus
Sounds
Christ.
good.
Chat, I'm gonna hit the be right back, and we will be right. That means I have to remember to unmute all the guys again. Right? I have to unmute and mute and unmute, right, guys, in chat?
Papa, can you hear
Jesus
me?
Christ.
Are we live?
Exclamation point. Whoops. You know how it is. Top tier streamer, you guys. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. That was an amazing 1.5 hour. That flew by. Legitimately flew by in good company. Time stand still. But in this second segment, my dear sweet chat, I hope some of you have made channel points enough so that you can highlight a message. If you have a question for the guys, just highlight your message and post a question in chat, and either the mods or I will pick them up and we will get them asked to you guys, if that's okay with you.
More than.
Sounds good. Rapid fire.
Yeah, because while we wait for that to get picked up and all, hi, Solbat says hi.
My answer is yes.
Yes. Yes.
I will answer yes to everything. I'm a yes man.
Ooh, very good, very good. OFD, hey girl. But while we pick up the questions, we're gonna do a few rapid fire questions. A few rapid fire questions for you. If you are ready, my dear sweet friends.
We're ready.
Favorite drum brand? Brand?
I think it's pretty obvious I'm a DW man for life. DW, yeah, can't go wrong with DWs. I could talk about how great DW is.
Is this
all
where we
day
get
long.
Pearl
I'm
was always
also-
my favorite.
the?
But I
And
mean,
you know
I
what?
honestly, they're all good to me.
Yeah, nobody disagrees. You know what I mean? It's like every drum kit can sound good. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just every DW drum kit sounds good.
Oh. Favorite stick and favorite stick size?
Vic Firth rock.
Right now, I've been playing these ProMark Tommy Aldrich signatures, which are thick as a brick, man.
That's White Snake, right?
Yeah, Whitesnake and Aussie and
Yep.
Black Oak, Arkansas. He of course played on Crazy Train, right? You know.
Yep.
But yeah, dude, these things are huge. I love them. They're like really thick. Ken Shock from Candiria turned me on to these because they're super long too. So they're thick and long, just what I need. You know what I mean?
Very thick.
That's what she said.
Lol. Two-part question. Favorite drummer to watch online?
Oh, this is part one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go for it, Mike.
I mean, to watch online, I guess right now, who it's been for a while, it's been Alex Rudinger. He's a YouTube. Oh, I mean, that's how I've known about him. He's YouTube. And he's drummed for a lot of bands, but Alex Rudinger, he's really good drummer.
I love. I love to watch Nick Baglio. He's sick as fuck. Everybody, I highly recommend you check him out if you haven't heard of him. I'll drop
I don't
his.
think I have.
Hold on, I'll drop. I think he's like
Nick.
something like that on Instagram, and then his name is spelled Nick Baglio. Yeah, check him out. He's sick. Also, Naveen Copperweiss, my homie.
Dude. Oh, you're
Naveen's the
homies with
man.
him?
Yeah, dude. Me and Naveen used to be freaking roommates. Naveen is
Dude.
like one of my very closest friends in the world. I love him to death.
Huge fan. Huge
Yeah.
fan.
He's
We-
the man, dude.
we are
I
actually-
love all of his online posts.
Nice. I just
He's-
really quickly want to say, Manticore Dave, Hitman, huge ass. I have your questions, but yes, please continue, Mike.
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm a huge fan of Naveen. I've been following him since, he worked with like Animals as Leaders, and then like
Yeah.
what was the band Flesh Rot?
Yeah,
Something
that's
like
around
that.
the time we became friends, like 2009, 2010. is when
How
we
he
linked
just
up.
shreds on drums and guitar is just awesome. I'm sure you've heard the new songs from his band Inthos.
He's one of the most talented people I know on this planet. Like it astonishes me how good he is at whatever he puts his mind to. It really freaks me out. And he's also one of the nicest people in the world. Like I'm really lucky to call him a very close friend. And we're just the second we met, you know what I mean? It was like stepbrothers, you know?
Dude, that's incredible. I'm a huge
Yeah.
fan of him, and his wife just seem like amazing people, and they're so
They're
talented.
both so great. I'm so happy for them. I'm glad that they kind of have the band together and are doing all this stuff, and it's becoming successful. I'm really
Yeah,
really
they got the
happy for them.
podcast and all that.
Yep.
Big
Yeah, he's
shout
the
out
man,
to
dude.
them. Big shout out. You guys need to go follow. What's the podcast?
Copper Crab.
Yeah, Copper Crab podcast. I believe it. They're on
Yeah, they're on
Twitch, on
Twitch.
YouTube. But yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff, guys. Very talented band that they're in. Inthos. They got new material out. But yeah, I'm a huge fan. He's a fan. He's friends. That's awesome. Good stuff. Small
Yeah,
world,
great
man.
guy.
It's awesome.
Then let's go over to some of all these lovely questions from chat that we've a guy that we all know. I'm sure he's also been in your chat rooms as well. We all love a huge ass. He's a great
No,
guy.
I've never had a huge ass in my chat room. I mean,
I love huge asses.
Yeah, a huge ass.
I'm sure I could enjoy huge ass, but I haven't had the opportunity lately.
Should give it a try.
We'll take this because it leads well up to what Manticore asks afterwards. But first, who is your inspiration?
For me, I mean, honestly, one of my first inspirations was our boy Lars in Metallica.
Lars is great.
I mean,
wrong with Lars.
I mean, I loved Metallica, still do, but I mean, I love, like Black Album's my favorite album, and I know I get a lot of shit for it, but I mean, I definitely do love me old Metallica too. All the double bassing he did in old Metallica is amazing.
Forget everybody who hates Black Album, man. Black Album rules. I don't care.
Dude, it's my favorite.
Says. It's
my
sick.
favorite.
Also, freaking Lars is sick. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, he's controversial. And there is a great quote about Lars that, I kind of agree with. That's messed up, but it doesn't matter because he is a great drummer and he wrote iconic stuff. And not only what he did for writing the drum parts, but writing guitar parts as well, or arranging songs. You know what I mean? That's something that I always looked up to Lars at, and I've always thought of myself as is, hey, you know what? I might not write you the greatest song in the world, but you come to me with some ideas and I'll put them together better than just about anybody. And like, Lars is famous for taking the riff in Enter Sandman, right? And repeating it 3 times before Kirk does the turnaround instead of just originally it was da 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 ba 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 ba. But Lars said, no, repeat that and then do the turnaround. And without that, the song would not be the same at all. The song would not be the iconic thing that we know and love today. So, it's little stuff like that. Lars is... People are going to hate on people who are great. That's just how it goes. If somebody said that freaking Meg White was their influence, it'd be like, you know what? That's legitimate. It is what it is. What Meg White did in her band was perfect. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's what it's all about. People don't realize the drums isn't all about just who can fill the craziest or who can come up with the best beats. It's what serves the song,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That leads perfectly up to what Manticore Dave he asked. Perhaps it's funny for you, Rain, being who you are, but like, have you ever met a famous drummer that you looked up to, and what was it like?
Well,
I'm sure you never have, dude.
Nah, you don't know it.
Yeah, I've never been blessed enough to meet any of the drummers I look up to ever.
Well, hold on. Let me try to further that question for Dave. Who would be like the number 1 guy for you? Like number 1 or top 2 guys that you were just like starstruck. Oh my God, I get to meet this guy. Wow.
Starstruck?
And you got to meet him, and talk to him or whatever, like actually meet.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I would say perhaps that was the case for most of the drummers that I've ever looked up to that I've met in the first time that I met them. But usually I've been lucky to become friends with most of the ones that I look up to. So by the second or third time we're hanging out, we're already fast friends, and then it is what it is. I mean, I've been lucky enough to have some really awesome experiences with drummers that I look up to, and people that I can actually call my friend, and people that I look up to as mentors and as, idols even, Danny Carey is one of the biggest ones that, I mean, we've just gotten to hang out and spend so much crazy fun times together, just partying, hanging out, having a freaking grand old time with a bunch of other drummers. And, I've been in a lot of cool drum hangs where it's like, oh, this is, literally all the baddest drummers in the fucking world are hanging out and just, kicking it. Like, this is what we do. You know what I mean? That's the biggest blessing about living in LA, is getting experiences like that, because Usually that stuff doesn't happen at most other places, but like, you know, you go see Meshuggah in LA at the Wiltern, and you know everybody's gonna be there, right? Because we all want to go out and see Thomas, or we go see Tool, and everybody's gonna be there because everyone wants to see Danny, or you name it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I've been very blessed. Danny's one of the big ones that I've been able to hang out with, and just, you know, like, it's crazy how close we are, yet still how much I look up to him. Like, it kind of blows my mind every now and then, where I kind of have to pinch myself. Be like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense because he worships and idolizes my dad. You know what I mean? Really, you know, looked up to him. And when I was growing up, Danny was my guy like that. And it just turned out, you know, oh, well, my dad gave my CD to Danny, you know what I mean? And checked him out. And, you know, I proved myself to the great one. And that was it, dude. I was part of the inner circle and never turned back, brother. Never turned back. So I'm like, we could do a whole freaking, you know, we could do a freaking 7-season series about all the amazing drummers I've been able to hang out with, and just, you know, get to pick their brain or whatever, have experiences with, whether it be dinner, you know, you name it, you know, more personal stuff, going to barbecues, birthdays, you know, going to Doug Pinnick's 70th birthday, you know what I mean? Weird shit like that, where it's just like, man, you know, this stuff is really cool. Obviously, Doug Pinnick is a bass player, but still, I look at Doug Pinnick as a god, a legend. You know what I mean? For all the stuff he wrote with King's X, and you know what I mean. He's one of the greatest of all time. Experiencing any of these things with any of these people. I mean, going to Jeff Beck's wedding where Jimmy Page and Paul McCartney are hanging out, and freaking, you know, there's been
Jesus
very wild.
Christ.
I've had an insane life. To say that being Terry Bozzio's son is without its perks would be lying. 100%. But, you know, I never take any of it for granted. And, you know, I learned early on that you have to prove yourself in order to actually, you know, befriend these people, because, you know, it doesn't matter really who you are. If you're a dick, or, you know, if you're not cool and you can't hang, nobody's going to want to spend time with you. You know what I mean? So you got to be a positive, cool, chill person, and that helps a lot too.
Well, then I'm kinda sorry, chat, but I gotta butt in with a quick one, really quick, because again, being a son of Terry Bozzio, as a kid, how much did he pay you to actually play, to actually be that protege? You know, you know the old meme of like the guitarist from Pink Floyd, his daughter, the meme with her where you just want to play guitar, but your dad is that guy from Pink Floyd.
Yeah, I was lucky it was never really like that. You know what I mean? My dad always sat me down at a kit, so like I could technically play before I could walk. But I didn't want to start playing until I turned like 10 or 11, because it would be a thing where it's like, okay, my dad is the drummer. That's what he does. You know what I mean? And I wanted my own identity. I wanted to be my own thing. I was more into singing, and I wanted to play guitar. So I thought, you know, I was going to be a frontman. Obviously, that's why I relate to Lars so much. Frontman from the back, you know what I mean? But anyway, yeah, when I discovered drums, my dad was really proud and really happy, because it was like, okay, you know, he wants to follow in my footsteps and do the things that I want to do. And, you know, it really, really filled his heart with joy. And at the same time, he was kind of heartbroken, because he knew the trials and tribulations that come with being a drummer and having this be your life, and being an artist, and what that entails. Because for as much joy as it brings, it can also bring a lot of suffering. It can also bring a lot of pain. You know, it can bring so many things. With these great ups come great downs. You know, there's loss, there's failure, there's all these things. And he knows how hard it is, especially nowadays with the music industry, because it's not anything like it was when he was growing up. You know what I mean? It was, oddly enough, even though it was so much less accessible, it was more accessible. You know what I mean? Even though we don't have the internet, and even though we can't go record our own albums all the time, it was easier to go join a band. It was easier to, you know, create original music and become successful off creating original music, where nowadays you become successful off creating copycat music. You know what I mean? That's what really does good, is who's going to be the next this, who's going to be the next that. So, you know, and it's so oversaturated that it's like, okay, well, yeah, everybody's a freaking musician. And, you know, meanwhile, you got the 8-year-olds that can play Moby Dick perfectly. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
they're chomping at your freaking, at your heels, you know what I mean? All that stuff. So it is what it is. But yeah, he never pushed me, you know, he kind of just pointed me in the right direction. I learned how to read, and I learned, you know, just basic understanding of technique in middle school. So I had like 3 years of middle school teaching, and then from there, I just started playing music with bands and started writing and creating all the time and listening and, you know, becoming influenced by Tool. By the time I was about 14 or 15, really changed a lot of things, because that made me open and expand my horizons in so many different ways to so many different types of music and styles of drumming, and incorporating that in my sound. You know, it was just kind of off to the races from there. So from then on, I would ask him every now and then little piece of advice, but it was never like my dad sat down and taught me all this stuff. He kind of knew the father son teaching relationship isn't always very good. You know what I mean? You want to hire somebody else to teach your son how to do the family craft, and then, you know, whatever he'll figure out, he'll figure out. But a lot of it is genetic. A lot of it is through osmosis. Having been surrounded by drums since freaking, you know, since before I was born, since I was in my daddy's nutsack, I've been surrounded by fucking drums. So, you know, it was almost as if it's like, there you go, you're the freaking, you know,
But that's
you're the son of Zeus. You got to freaking follow in Zeus's footsteps. You know what I mean? It was one of those wild things, man.
exactly. But that's also why I'm kind of interested to perhaps get the take from your side of the game, Mike, where when you don't have all that around you and you perhaps don't have a talented drummer as a dad. I don't want to say anything bad about your dad here, for heaven's sake. He's a lovely man, but you know,
You didn't know Mike's dad is freaking.
he's awesome on the now, but you know
He's
what
the
I
most
mean.
insane
Like,
shredder on the.
He is
how-
no
tough
musician.
bass.
My mom or dad are no musicians.
no, but like what I mean, you didn't get paid. You probably had to pick everything up by yourself. Simply, also as you put earlier, back to the whole madness of excellence, wanting to do it, wanting to get better, wanting to pick up these techniques, and wanting to excel at drumming. You know, but how you came about it?
Well, how did I come about it?
Yeah, you know, because you.
Well, I don't know. Like I get like I guess my story, how it came about would be that, I mean, so I had been banging on pots and pans literally since I was like 2. Well, actually, no. I'll further back my statement, and this might make sense with like with my feet and my double bassing and all that. When I was a baby, apparently I would not stop bouncing. Like I was always bouncing. Like, oh, and it was like a thing. It was like weird. Like that's why they like talk about it to this day. And then not long after that, I was always drumming to like music and all that. And so they ended up putting out pots and pans, and there's a picture somewhere me playing on pots and pans at like 2, or if not previously at 2. And so my family like knew, like, holy shit, this kid's gonna be a drummer, you know. And so it was after time. It wasn't my mom, it wasn't my dad, it wasn't my grandma, it was my second cousin on my dad or on my mom's side that bought me my first drum set, and at 7 years old. And then I just started drumming, you know. And the thing that they let me do is they just let me drum, you know. They didn't care as long as I was drumming before 10 o'clock, so I wasn't bothering the neighbors. Like, they let me drum when I'd come home from school and all that. And that was my routine. I would go to school, ride my bike home, play a bunch of drums, and then go out and ride my bike more. And, you know, but yeah, like I've just been grinding. I've wanted it, you know. I don't know what it was. Like, I really don't. It's just been the only thing I've known, and you know, if I, like I've said it before, if I didn't have drums, I'd probably be down in a ditch or something like that. You know, drums have saved my life, and it's built the life that I have now. You know, it's making it to where I can survive. You know, so like I don't know what really caused it, but I guess I hate to sound like one of those douchebags, but yeah, I guess I was just born with it. You know, it was just in my DNA. You know, it just happened. You know.
Tell me about it.
Well, but I didn't have
totally
like
agree.
I have some musicians in my family, but not really. Like
Yeah.
it just kind of happened, you know. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's. I mean, but like I said, it was weird for me because it wasn't something I was always into, right? Like it took me, however many years of being alive, to figure out, okay, maybe this is something I want to do, and then.
But you
Even
obviously
then,
had it though. You have that natural talent. You know, not everyone has the natural talent. Some
yeah,
people have to actually build it, but it is hereditary. It's in
yeah,
your blood. Like
yeah,
you have natural talent. I have natural talent. Not everyone has natural. It's sometimes hard to find, and when you see
yeah,
it, you're like, holy shit, that guy is talent. Like I have a guitar player, very naturally talented. You know, it's
yeah,
you see it when you see it, and it just you can't explain it sometimes. It's just a science that just happens. You know,
yeah,
it
absolutely.
just happens.
Yeah, weird stuff, man, but I love it. So, speaking of guitar players with natural
Unexplainable.
talent,
You can't explain it. You can't,
yeah,
like, I don't think they haven't you know, there's no like scientific studies that have been like, all right, we've dissected the brain and been it's this and this and this working together that create this natural talent that we're speaking of. You know, we
yeah,
don't know how it works.
yeah, absolutely, man.
Something to do with how the brain and the body works together, you know, within, of course, listening to music, but it's something to do with how your mind and body works together. Not everyone, it's not even a coordination thing. You know, I think it's deeper than that.
My dear
Yeah,
sweet
absolutely.
friends, we are coming up on the 2 hour mark, which is really, really wonderful. But we're just gonna take Alyssa, my dear sweet mod and VIP. You also know Alyssa Marie.
What
She
up? What's
posted
up?
a really, really amazing question, and I think we're gonna end on that one then. And then afterwards, we'll go into the section I like to call Hug and Plug. Uh-huh.
In that order?
In that order. We're gonna hug and plug it up. Oh.
Plug and hug.
Oh, now we're talking. Now, but the last one for today, sweet friends. Sometimes, Alyssa writes, sometimes I find that streaming can take a toll on our mental health, relationships, self-care, etc. What do you guys do to find balance with these aspects and take care of you? And what do you do to make sure you are not compromising yourself?
I'll let you go first, Mike.
Um, well, what do I do? I think I think after time, the key is just mental preparation. At least, um, well, before and after the stream, as in like you have to be mentally prepared to know what you're getting into, and not just I'm not just talking about in stream and on stream. I'm talking about off stream. You know, like you have to be aware of what you're doing and what your goals are of that day or the next day or whatever, you know, whether you have a planned stream like this or you just have a random stream where you just go online and start playing drums or games or something like that, you know, like the mental preparation that you have is going to be key to help you with your balance that you have out inside and out of streaming and all that. And like I was saying before, I'm struggling finding that balance, you know, but it's all about knowledge is key, so being able to acknowledge that you need to find that balance and work on that, that's the key. I think there are probably some streamers that don't have a clue that they need to find a balance and they don't know how to find that balance. So the key is, as long as you're aware, that's going to help you be more mentally prepared to be able to find that balance. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like I said, it could be very difficult finding that balance because of the chaotic nature of just, like I said, being an artist in general, right? Especially being a drummer, it's like, you're kind of on call 24/7 because you never know when the next rehearsal is going to be. You never know when the next show is. You could get a call for a show the same night of the freaking show sometimes. You know what I mean? Where it's like, hey, we need a guy to come in right now, blah blah blah. Okay. You have to be ready for that. And that takes all the people in your life around you to be incredibly understanding. If they can't understand you and what your passion is and what your dreams are and what you're pursuing, then they're not the right person for you. You know what I mean? So you need to have somebody that does understand music is your number one love and music is your number one priority. And whatever you have to do, like I said, I will die playing the fucking drums. I will do whatever I have to do in order to do it. When frickin' COVID first happened, the first second I was able to play a show, I did it. I was like, I don't care. I haven't played a show all year, but I'm gonna freaking play it because I will live and die playing drums. The second I could get the vaccine, I didn't care if it would kill me. I didn't care whatever the fuck, all this shit, you know what I mean? I don't want to get into the politics of everything, but I was like, I'm taking this shit because if I have to go on tour and I have to play, I want to be able to say, hey, I have this shit. Let me in the fucking venue or whatever the fucking deal is. I don't give a fuck. Whatever I have to do playing drums, I will do because I want to play drums. That's what I want to do. And same thing with streaming. I would love to make streaming, a bigger part of my drumming career. And I already have been investing hours, taking the time to make it something that is part of this palette of paint that I have to work with in life. And I love it. I love the community we've built. All the great drum fam, all the great drummers that I've met through this, all the super awesome people who have been helping support the stream in just the short time that it's been going. Has been so inspiring, man. And I'm so grateful, like I said, for everybody who's in the chat right now, for everybody who I'm talking to via Zoom right now. It's a really cool community and a really cool platform that brings us all together and allows us to kind of talk about cool things like this that we normally wouldn't cover in interviews. You know what I mean? We kind of went on some deeper stuff where it's like, yeah, people don't really ask a lot about the personal life aspect of being a drummer, being a musician, now being a drummer who streams, and having this whole new thing where it's like, okay, well, there's an extra 3-4 hours out of the day that, you're going to have to account for because you want to make this work, just like you would practice 3-4 hours a day having to learn songs for a band you want to play with, or whatever, you can apply that to anything. It's a lot, man. So yeah, it's a great question from Lissa over there.
You're here.
Yeah. My voice is starting to go, so
We
now
can
I'm
hear it.
definitely...
That's why we are going to say that that was enough for the questions, at least. But now that brings us to all the sappiness, all the cheesiness, because oh my god, you two legends. My hands, they are dripping from nervousness. Now I can finally go
Are you sure that's what they're dripping from, Gag?
Yeah.
Is there something else you don't want to share with us that you've been doing? I can't see you on my... I mean, we can only see above the... We can only see above your chest there, above your neck. We don't know.
You don't know what's going on downstairs. No one needs to know. No one needs to know. I'm starting to know, but you know how thankful I am for you being here, man. You know how thankful I am for you being here. I am very, very aware that I wouldn't be in a position to provide this platform if you, again, the music community, didn't gather around me and have been so friendly and supportive as you have been. So Jesus Christ, there is nothing on me in this. I am a simple mediator. You are the alchemists that holds the key to the chest with the musical knowledge. Thank you for sharing it with us.
I disagree. I would say you're the alchemist. We're just the ingredients. You're the one who put this all together. We're just merely the freaking student. You know what I mean? That you created this amazing concoction. Because realistically, right, neither the two of us would be doing this, having this great, awesome conversation, opening it up to the chat, who've had some great questions, and you know, educating people about our world and about our lives and about all this stuff. It's been a lot of fun, and obviously hearing from Mike is a pleasure too, and getting to share with him, etc. You know, it's been a real blessing.
Right.
Dude, it's been a pleasure to get to know. I mean, I've talked with Gap before, but it's been a real pleasure getting to know you more, you know? Like,
likewise, my friend. The feeling is mutual. We have a big mutual admiration society here, guys.
It's
Dude,
beautiful.
hell yeah, man.
It's beautiful. Mods, I hope you're on the shout-outs. If not, we're gonna get... Oh, and there was Office Drummer with a cool chat. Office Drummer,
big thanks to him. He's put me in contact with all y'all. So if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't know any of yous.
Office Drummer is a dude
big time.
as well.
Same. Likewise.
Right. He's the chieftain.
He's the man, dude. The chief. The boss.
But thank you so much, guys. I think we're gonna call that the first episode of a Gypsy Search for Music on Twitch. What a shame Gabe couldn't be here.
Big shout out to Gabe.
Big shout out to Gabe Studio, man.
I'm looking forward to episode 2 with Gabe on it.
Absolutely.
Right. I'm gonna push the be right back button, and then we're gonna be back with just normal chat. Take care, guys. 2 seconds. Oh.